If you love great music and some gentle banter, you're in the right place. Listen to Radio Care, broadcasting from Coventry.
Hello, it's Sunday night. I'm Mike Cowder and you're listening to Radio Care. How's your weekend been? Mine's been really good. And I don't know about the weather in the rest of the UK, but in Coventry, it's been sunny. Wind's been a bit high, but it's just nice to see the sun, isn't it? It makes such a difference to how you feel in your day. So roll on summer, that's what we want, some nice sunny weather. So this weekend, I've chosen to go for a show I themed cover to cover. And basically, I'm playing some of the cover songs that have been really successful sort of over the years. I'm either playing the actual cover version or I'm going to be playing the original sort of version of the song. Now, there's some really obscure ones which you may not have heard on there, but you know my shows by now. If you listen regular, there's a few sort of gems I always throw in there. So, starting off in the 60s, to get us going, we've got the Beatles and Words of Love.
Close and tell me how you feel. Tell me love is real. Words of love you whisper soft and true. Darling, I love you. Let me hear you say the words I long to hear, darling, when you're near. Words of love you whisper soft and true, darling, I love you.
And that was the Beatles and Words of Love from 1963. Now, the song was originally done by Buddy Holly back in 1957, and Buddy Holly was ahead of his time for an artist of that time sort of recording. He was one of the first artists to actually do multi-tracking, so the actual backing vocals you heard on that was Holly actually harmonising with himself on there. So it wasn't a hit for him. It always appears on like the compilation albums, like the best of Buddy Holly. But it wasn't a huge hit for him. But it's one that I remember sort of, not at that time, but I remember my mum sort of playing it, and mum and dad had it on vinyl. But the Beatles version appeared on their it came out recorded 63, came out in 64 on the Beatles for Sale album. Just trying to see whether they actually released it as a single. No, they didn't actually release it as a single. But they did actually used to put it in their set between 1958 and 1962 when they sort of become famous. So this next one is one from the Rolling Stones. It's from 1964, and I'll tell you a bit more about it in a bit. This one is Time Is On My Side.
That you wanna be free, but you come running back, said you were baby. so many times before. You come running back to me. Time is on my side. Yes, it is. Time is on my side. Yes, it is. You're searching for good times, but just wait and see. You come running back, I won't have to worry no more. You come running back, the rest of my life with you, baby. You come running back to me. Go ahead. Go ahead, light of the town. And baby, do everything your heart desires. Remember, I'll always be around. And I know, like I told you so many times before, you're gonna come back, baby. Cause I know you're gonna come back knocking right on my door. Yes, yes. Well, time is on my side. Yes, it is. Time is on my side. Yes, it is. Cause I got the real love, the kind that you need. You come running back, said you would, baby. You come running back, I always said you would. You come running back, I won't have to worry no more. Yes, time is on my side. Yes, it is. Time is on my side. Yes, it is. Oh, time is on my side. Yes, it is. I said time is on my side. Yes, it is. Oh, time is on my side.
Now, that's a really early one from the Rolling Stones. You've probably never heard that before, unless you're sort of really into them. Time is on my side was originally done as an instrumental. I think it was first recorded by a jazz artist, Kaya Winding and his orchestra, also recorded by Irma Thompson, and then the Rolling Stones in 1964. It was one of the ones that they brought out in the UK sort of around about 1964, also in the US, also just sort of around about the time as It's All Over Now, peaked at number 26. So this next one, this is a real gem, and I'd never heard this version of the song. Now, the song was originally done by the Archies, that cartoon band. It was which was actually a session band that recorded the song Sugar Sugar. My mum and dad always used to tell this really embarrassing sort of tale whenever my friends come round, and if I came on the radio and that, they'd be, oh yeah, Michael used to stand there in his cot and he'd be singing Sugar Sugar sort of when he was a baby, and I'd sort of like heard that a million times, that one. But this version is by Bob Marley and the Wailers, and I'd never heard this version. It was actually recorded the same year as the Archies version, so see what you think.
Wanting you, oh honey, honey. kissed you, girl, I knew how sweet a kiss could be.
You how sweet a kiss could be. Drip, drop, drip.
Like a silver sunshine, pour your sweetness over me.
Pour your sweetness over me.
Now let me be with
Oh, honey,
honey, sugar.
oh, sugar, sugar.
Oh, please be both them together.
My candy
And
girl.
be my candy girl.
Me won't it
And you
be?
got me, got me, got me.
Honey,
Honey, I'm a sugar.
oh, sugar, sugar.
I mix them together.
You are my candy girl.
That's what you are.
Got me,
Got me, got me. Yeah, pour your
pour
sugar.
your sugar on me, baby.
Pour it down.
Pour your sugar on me, honey.
Pour your sugar.
We can make a life so sweet.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, hey,
Yeah.
pour your sugar on me, baby.
Pour your sugar.
Pour your sugar.
Pour your sugar on me, honey.
We can make a life so sweet.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, pour your sugar.
Pour your sugar, baby.
So there you have it. Radio Care, transporting you from the 60s to present day. Join Mike Howard broadcasting from Coventry to the world.
That was a really catchy version of that song, and that was unmistakable, wasn't it? Bob Marley's voice. You could hear that really coming through. That was Sugar Sugar by Bob Marley and the Wailers from 1969. Yep, I've never heard that version until sort of I was searching out the songs the other day. So I've got some birthday shout outs. If I forget, someone remind me later on, but I've got several birthday shout outs to make later on, so I will sort of make them. And just to say to welcome to anyone that's just joined the show tonight. I think at the moment there's just over 1,600 people listening. Not bad for the sort of third song in. That's really good. So hopefully the numbers sort of will go up as the night goes on. And I know that we normally have our usual listeners over at Bar 72. Just to say hello to everyone sort of over there. And there's Richard, there's Louise, there's Alison. I'm trying to think who else might be listening. My cousin Kathy might be listening tonight. I don't know whether my sister will be listening, but you never know. Yeah, but anyone that's sort of like regular sort of tuned in, just give us a shout. Just say hello. You know, that'd be brilliant. So this next one is one from... Let me have a look. This next one is one from Jackson Browne. Now, the reason why I put it on here is that it was more famous by Nico. Now, Nico was a singer in the late 60s that was very much sort of involved sort of with the Velvet Underground, and particularly sort of done a lot sort of Andy Warhol sort of at the time. And she had an album out called Chelsea Girl. She was a German artist, and she done a version of a song that I'm just about to play, but it was also recorded by many other artists. Greg Allman of the Allman Brothers done a version of it, Tom Rush, various people done a version of this song. So this is Jackson Browne's version of a song that he written when he was 16 years old these days. I really like it.
Well, I've been out walking. I don't do that much talking these days. These days. These days I seem to think a lot about the things that I forgot to do for you, and all the times I had the chance to. And I had a lover, but it's so hard to risk another these days. Now if I seem to be afraid to live the life that I have made in song, time in quarter tones to 10, my friend. Don't confront me with my failures, I had not forgotten them.
I was just getting lost in that song. That was These Days from Jackson Browne, originally done in 1967, and like I say, Nico actually was the first artist to do an official recording of it for her album Chelsea Girl, but also covered by Tom Rush, Greg Allman, and then later on Jackson Browne did actually record his own version, as you just heard of it. But yeah, a song that was written sort of when he was 16 years old, and it was saying that the lyrics deal with loss and regret. So wow, sort of for a 16-year-old to write a song that was that deep. Yeah, there you go. So the next song is very famous, and it's very famous because it's been a sort of number one hit, or a really sort of probably a top 10 hit, or at least, it's got to have been a number one hit for two artists. It was number one, I reckon, for Harry Nilsson. I will check it out, and also for Mariah Carey. So you probably guess from that what song it is. It's a song, Without You. Now, it was originally written and recorded by the band Badfinger, which are a Welsh band, that was one of the bands that was signed to the Apple label, sort of the label that was set up sort of through the Beatles, and it was a band that sort of Paul McCartney was sort of really sort of promoting. And so they wrote this song and recorded it 1970. They had a hit with another song called No Matter What, which I used to cover in a duo sort of years ago. But this is their version of Without You. Very different from the Nilsson version, and definitely very different from the Mariah Carey version.
Well, I can't forget this evening and your face when you were leaving, but I guess that's just the way the story goes. You always smile, but in your eyes your sorrow shows. Yes, it shows. Well, I can't forget tomorrow when I think of all my sorrow. I had you there, then I let you go, and now it's only fair that I should let you know what you should know. face when you were leaving, but I guess that's just the way the story goes. You always smile, but in your eyes your sorrow shows. Yes, it shows.
Told you that was a very, very different version, wasn't it? That was Badfinger and Without You from 1970. Now, that was the original version, written by Peter Ham and Tom Evans. Now, very tragic story about this band. I mean, they had the worst luck ever. You know, they were signed to the Apple label. When the Beatles split up, Apple sort of just went, didn't they? You know, it was just dissolved. The clothing company, the record company, everything just sort of collapsed sort of around them. So anyone that was signed up to that, they ended up with new management who ended up running off with their money. Which ended up with sort of with Peter Ham sort of committing suicide, and then several years later Tom Evans committed suicide over this song because of copyright on it. It's just awful, really sort of a tragic sort of thing about this band. But I love sort of some of the stuff that I've sort of heard by them. You know, over the years where I've heard sort of different tracks by Badfinger and that. But if you get a chance, check out some of their stuff on there. They have got very much a bit of a sort of a Beatles sound, and I think that was why the Beatles had them sort of signed to their label, because it reminded them sort of their younger self. So this next song is one from a Scottish rock band called Nazareth, from 1975. Now, it came out about 1975, but it was like floating in the charts, different charts from 75 to 77. This is a song, it's a ballad by a heavy rock band called Love Hurts.
Love hurts, love
that was quite a mellow one, really, wasn't it? That was from the band Nazareth and their version of a song which I'd first heard as done by the Everly Brothers. That was the version that I first learnt to sing, because that's how I learnt to sort of harmonise, was actually listening to the Everly Brothers. And it wasn't until sort of, was it 1987 that I went to see them at the NEC in Birmingham, and they were just as good sort of to see then. But that's, like I say, where I learnt sort of like how to harmonise, by listening to the records that my parents had of the Everly Brothers. So originally recorded by the Everly Brothers in 1960, but recorded in 1975 by Nazareth. Now, I said that it was sort of one that floated around the charts. The information that I've got is quite confusing. So it said it became a hit single in the United States, reaching number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100 in early 76. Billboard ranked it as number 23 song of 76 as part of the Hot Tracks EP. Also reached number 41 in the UK in 1977. Also Nazareth's sort of version was an international hit, peaking at number 1 in Canada, Netherlands, Belgium, South Africa, Norway. So it's all between sort of 1975 and 1977. It does also say in 1975 it was a top 5 hit in the UK. Oh, I see. By English singer Jim Capaldi. Right, I'm on track now. See, I've got to make sense of all my notes and everything. So welcome. I can see we've got quite a few people listening, so thank you so much for joining us on Radio Care. And I know there's a few sort of new listeners, and you're going to find the show a bit quirky tonight, because I often come up with sort of theme shows, and this one has been sort of suggested, why don't you have some cover shows, you know, with cover songs. And I thought about it, and I thought, okay, I could either play the cover song that was a huge hit, or play the original song that then might have been a hit sort of when it was originally done, and then not so when it was covered. So this next one was a huge hit sort of when it was covered, particularly because it was a boy band that sort of covered it, but I actually like the original version. This is a song called Could It Be Magic? It was done by Barry Manilow in 1975, and that's the version I'm playing.
Spirit move me every time I'm near you, whirling like a cyclone in my mind. Sweet Melissa, angel of my lifetime, answer to all answers I can find. Baby, I love you, come into my arms. Let me know the wonder of all of you. Baby, I want you now, and hold on never leave you till my life is done. Baby, I love you. Come into my arms. Let me know the wonder of all of you. And baby, I want you now, now, oh now, oh now, and hold on fast. Could this be the magic at last? Could it be magic? Come on, come on, come, oh, come into my arms. Oh, let me know the wonder of all of you. All of you, baby, I want you now, now, oh now, oh now, and hold on fast. Oh, could this be the magic at last? Could it be magic? Oh, come on, come into my arms. Oh, let me know the wonder of all of you. Baby, I want you now, now, oh now, and hold on fast. Could this be the magic at last? Could it be magic? Oh, come on, come into my arms. Oh, let me know the wonder of all of you. Baby, I want you now, now, oh now, now, oh now, and hold on fast.
You can come back in the room now. That was Barry Manilow and Could It Be Magic? That was the full 6 minute 46 second version from 1975. Now the song was originally recorded or written and recorded in 1971, and that was when he was in a band called Featherbed. It was produced by Tony Orlando, but then he done this solo version in 1975. It's also been recorded by Donna Summer. She recorded it in 1976, and then a very famous version by Take That in 1992, which was the one that actually won the Brit Awards and for the British single of 1993. So I promised I'd give a couple of shout outs for birthdays. I haven't done that for such a long time. I don't know if you've listened to the show sort of for the past year. I used to do that every week, and then I got out of the habit of sort of doing it, but I'm going to try getting back into it. So to say a massive happy birthday to Melissa Foxall, who is 21 today. To say happy birthday to Anna Marie, whose birthday it was yesterday. Alan and Puncheon, whose birthday is today. Julie Cleves, whose birthday is Wednesday or tomorrow, and Sarah Howard, and also an old friend from primary school, Susanna Brinkley, as we knew her. It's her birthday this week as well. So just happy birthday to everyone. Have a great one. So this next one would have been done by Billy Joel, sort of round about sort of the same time as sort of Barry Manilow was sort of out, sort of bringing his stuff into the charts. Both sort of very sort of renowned for sort of playing the piano sort of with their songs. This is actually a version that came out in 2010. It's by Fife Dangerfield, and it's his version of She's Always a Woman.
She can kill with her smile, she can wound with her eyes, and she can ruin your faith with her casual lies. And she only reveals what she wants you to see. She hides like a child, but she's always a woman to me. She can lead you to love, she can take you or leave you. She can ask for the truth, but she'll never believe. And she'll take what you'll give her as long as it's free. Yeah, she steals like a thief, but she's always a woman to me. Oh, she takes care of herself. She can wait if she wants. She's ahead of her time. Oh, and she never gives out, and she never gives in. She just changes her mind, and she'll promise you more than the Garden of Eden. And she'll carelessly cut you and laugh while you're bleeding. But she'll bring out the best and the worst you can be. Blame it all on yourself, 'cause she's always a woman to me. Oh, she takes care of herself. She's ahead of her time. Oh, and she never gives out, and she never gives in. She just changes her mind. She is frequently kind and she's suddenly cruel, but she can do as she pleases. She's nobody's fool. And she can't be convicted, she's earned her degree. And the most she will do is throw shadows at you, but she's always a woman to me.
You know, that's a nice song, whichever version it is. I like the Billy Joel version, but I equally like the Fife Dangerfield version. So originally it was from Billy Joel's album The Stranger from 1977. And the song peaked at number 17 in the US for Billy Joel in 77, at number 53 in the UK in 1986. But this version, just trying to see where it got to when it was released. So this version was released on for a TV advert. So it was a John Lewis advert. In 2010, it does say Billy Joel on this one being released. He actually re-released his single, which got to number 29. But this single got to debuted at number 99, then got to 85, and then eventually got to number 14 on the UK singles charts. eventually got to number 7. Oh, we're getting there in the end, aren't we? Pick a number, any number. Anyway, Fife Dangerfield from 2010, and for a John Lewis advert, and She's Always Woman to Me. So, welcome if you just joined us on Radio Care. I can see the numbers are slowly creeping up. We haven't got sort of too many people listening tonight, but sometimes sort of as the evening goes on, it gets a bit higher. We're up to about 5,000 people sort of listening, so it's a nice, comfy, sort of close sort of number, sort of very, what's the word? Trying to sort of think, very intimate number, isn't it? Of people sort of listening. Now, I mentioned the Everly Brothers earlier on when I was talking about that version of Love Hurts by Nazareth, and it made me think about sort of like the Everly Brothers, and they done a cover version of a Dire Straits song. Now, when I went to see them in 87, they did do a version of this song, and then recently I found a version of the Everly Brothers. There's a video on YouTube you can find which has got Chet Atkins and Mark Knopfler on the Emmylou Harris, I think, is on there as well, and they play this song, and it's just fantastic. But they did actually record this song for their album in 1985 called Born Yesterday. It was also from the Dire Straits album Brothers in Arms, also in 1985. The song is called Why Worry, and it's a great song. See what you think.
I see this world has made you sad. Some people can be bad, things they do and things they say. But baby, I'll wipe away those bitter tears. I'll chase away those restless fears that turn your blue skies into gray. Why worry? There should be laughter after pain. There should be sunshine after rain. These things have always been the same. So why worry now? Why worry now? Get down, I turn to you, and you make sense of what I do. No, it isn't hard to say, but baby, just when this world seems mean and cold, our love comes shining red and gold. There should be laughter after pain. should be sunshine after rain. These things have always been the same. So why worry now? Why worry now?
Oh, great. I had to cut that off just then, didn't I? I just cut that off because it goes on to Emmylou Harris, I think, sort of about to sing a song on there as well. So that was the Everly Brothers version of Why Worry from 1985, which they brought out on their Born Yesterday album. Now, I'm sure I actually bought that on vinyl, not when it came out at the time, but I got it in one of them sort of second-hand shops when I lived in Great Yarmouth. There used to be one under the sort of shopping precinct there. I think where Alan's Music Shop is, there used to be like an old sort of second-hand record shop there. Under the market gates, sort of going back. So this next one is one from the Pretenders, and there's quite a few links with this song. So the Pretenders, very popular sort of in the late 70s. They were kind of became a new wave band, so they were one of the ones that sort of jumped on the bandwagon of the sort of punk movement, but like the Jam and many of the other bands, they moved away from that and became very much a sort of new wave band. So they sort of kept that edge to sort of like their music, but they pulled away from that punk sound. And they'd done a version of the Kinks' Stop Your Sobbing in 1979. Now the Kinks had recorded that in 1964. Now the connection with the Kinks and the Pretenders is that Ray Davies and Chrissie Hynde actually ended up together after this sort of recording, and they've actually got a child sort of together. But I'll tell you a bit more about the song in a minute. This is the Pretenders version of Stop Your Sobbing.
It is time for you to stop all of your sobbing. Yes, it's time for you to stop all of your sobbing. Oh, there's one thing you gotta do to make me still want you. Gotta stop sobbing now, stop sobbing now. Yeah, yeah, stop it, stop, stop it, stop it. It is time for you to laugh instead of crying. Yes, it's time for you to laugh, so keep on trying. Oh, there's one thing you gotta do to make me still want you. Gotta stop sobbing now, stop sobbing now. Yeah, yeah, stop it, stop, stop it, stop it. Each little tear that falls from your eye makes me want to take you in my arms and tell you to stop all your There's one thing you gotta do to make me
And that was the Pretenders version of Stop Your Subbing from 1979. Now, the song was actually given as a demo to Nick Lowe, who was a record producer at the time, and became the A-side of the first single the band released. Now, after recording, Nick Lowe abandoned the group, claiming that the band was not going to go anywhere. He didn't think they were going to amount to anything. But despite what Nick Lowe had said, the single made it into the top 40, reached number 34 on the UK singles charts, didn't perform quite as well in the US, but it did reach number 65 on the Billboard Hot 100. And we know that the Pretenders sort of went on to have hits after that, and Chrissie Hynde has sort of become sort of a legend in her own right. Now, I've been quite clever here. Well, I think I've been clever. Sometimes I get these ideas and I think, oh yeah, he's quite clever, sort of thinking about things like this. So the next band that I'm actually going to play next is a bit of a connection between them and Pretenders. See, I'm trying to link these people in. So the next song is by a band called UB40. It was a song that was written and recorded by Neil Diamond in 1967. Now, UB40, when they sort of first formed and they were trying to get these sort of record deals, and they were playing local pubs in Birmingham, and sort of trying to sort of get their name out there, Chrissie Hynde went to see them play in a pub one night, and then she gave them a slot on her tour, and that was it. The rest was history. They ended up getting signed to a label and became sort of one of the sort of biggest bands sort of like from the West Midlands. So this is UB40's version of Red Red Wine from 1983.
Red, red wine goes to my head, makes me forget that I still need her so much. Red, red wine, it's up to you.
RadioCare wants to thank all carers around the world. Paid and unpaid, you are all amazing.
And that was UB40 and Red Red Wine from 1983. Got to number one on the UK singles charts, and in the States it had sort of moderate success. It was re-released in 88 and went to number one on the Billboard Hot 100. Okay, it doesn't really say where it got to in 1983, but on the re-release in 88 it did get to number one on the Billboard Hot 100. So there we have it. So a little jingle I just played a second ago where I thank carers. That's the whole reason why I set up Radio Care. I do say it every week, and it's just to remind people how the title came about and what it's about. So Radio Care was set up to say a big thank you to carers all over the world for the amazing job that you do in looking after the people that you care for. I work for an organisation called Carers Trust Heart of England. We support family carers, and this is something which is totally separate from Carers Trust. It's something that I do because I want to say sort of thank you. I enjoy sort of music, and I just want to bring a little bit of happiness to people. But over the course of the years, of particularly this past few years with the pandemic, carers have really sort of been sort of stretched to the limit, sort of with shielding and the extra hours and stuff that they've had sort of like to do. So just to say, you are all amazing, everything that you've had to do, and that's sort of family carers looking after loved ones. That's people that are working in residential homes that have carried on sort of like going in and you're looking after people and looking after loved ones where family couldn't actually go into the home sort of like to see them. And people like who work for Carers Trust on our regulated part of the service, but do go into people's homes and provide sort of personal care and sort of the welfare checks and everything. You've all done an amazing job. So just to say a big, big thank you to all of you. And to my colleagues and sort of friends that I sort of work with, it's been a tough sort of 2 years, and we've all kept going. And I know sometimes we, at the moment we feel like we've sort of like a bit burnt out, sort of in places and that. But we've survived, we've got there, and we're still working together as a team. So yeah, you've all done well, fantastic. So this next one, back to the music. So this next one is one originally done by the Beatles on my favourite album, or one of my favourite albums by the Beatles. It's from the album known as the White Album, which came out in 1968, and it's a song written by Paul McCartney, and it's Paul McCartney's attempt to create a sound as loud as possible and as dirty as possible. And he was trying to develop very much a sort of heavy metal sound. Now, I used to have a vinyl LP of Susie and the Banshees, and she done a version of it. I think it was a live version that she did. But also in 1988, U2 brought out an album called Rattle and Hum, and it's one of the tracks that's on there. This is their version of the Beatles track, Helter Skelter.
It's a song Charles Manson stole from the Beatles. We're stealing it back. When you get to the bottom, you go back to the top of the slide, and you stop, and you turn, and you go for a ride. Then you get to the bottom, then you see me go. Do you, don't you want me to love you? Come now fast and ride you back home. Tell me this.
I bet that one woke you up, didn't it? That was U2's version of Helter Skelter from their album Rattle and Hum, which came out in 1988. But the song was actually recorded from one of their live gigs at Denver, Colorado in 1987. So this next one is one that was done by Tears for Fears in 1982. And I was going to play this version, but I did do an 80s one sort of like last week. So what I thought is I'd play the cover version that came out in 2003. This is Gary Jules and Michael Andrews' version of Mad World.
Worn out places, worn out faces, bright and early for their daily races, going nowhere, going nowhere. Their tears are filling up their glasses, no expression, no expression. Hide my head, I wanna drown my sorrow. No tomorrow, no tomorrow. And I find it kinda funny, I find it kinda sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad world. Children waiting for the day they feel good. Happy birthday, happy birthday. And to feel the way that every child should sit and listen, sit and listen. Went to school and I was very nervous. No one knew me, no one knew me. Hello teacher, tell me what's my lesson. Look right through me, look right through me. And I find it kind of funny, I find it kind of sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad world. Enlarging your world. Mad world.
And that was the Michael Andrews and Gary Jules version of Mad World from 2003. Like I said, originally done by Tears for Fears in 1982, where it reached number 3 on the UK singles charts in the November of 82. But 20 years later, It was for the film Donnie Darko. I thought Donnie Darko was much earlier. I thought that was a 90s film. While Tears for Fears version featured synthesizers and heavy percussion, the Andrews and Jules version was stripped down instead of a full musical backing. It only used a set of piano chords and a mellotron, imitating a cello. I probably prefer the Tears for Fears version, but I'm sure people do like the other version. This version. Now, this song, at that time it was released sort of in December of 2003, and the Darkness were actually supposed to, they were the ones that were the bookmakers were saying we're going to get to number one with Christmas Time, Don't Let the Bells End. But they were actually beaten by this song. This got to number one on the 21st of December and remained there for 3 consecutive weeks. However, in the United States, the song only reached number 30 on the Billboard Modern Rock's track charts when it was issued in 2004. Yeah, I probably do prefer the other version of that song. But there you go. So this next one is going back to the 80s again, but it's a song that was recorded in the 1960s. Influenced by the music that my parents used to play, particularly my mum. She was very into sort of music, and she was a big fan of Simon & Garfunkel. And the song was recorded by Simon & Garfunkel in 1966 for their studio album called Bookends, which came out in 1968. The song is called Hazy Shade of Winter, but it was then recorded in 1987 by the girl band The Bangles, and they did a really good version of it. Well, I nearly missed the end of that one then. I was too busy sort of reading up sort of like the next song that's going to be played. That was the Bangles and Hazy Shade of Winter from 1987. Now, recorded for the Less Than Zero soundtrack. Peaked at number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100. Trying to see where it got to in the UK. Got to number 11 in the UK. Also was a hit in throughout sort of Europe. It does say that it did get to it got to number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100, as I said earlier, but that was only because Tiffany was at number 1 with Could Have Been. There you go. So this next song was a song that was in the charts forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. It's not the Bryan Adams, but it's the other one. Song originally done by the Trugs back in 1967, I think. Yeah, back in 1967. It's Love Is All Around, but it was then recorded by Wet Wet Wet. And just trying to see, Wet Wet Wet. I'll tell you about it in a minute. Let's play the song.
I feel it in my toe. Love is all around me, and so the feeling grows. It's written on the wind, it's everywhere I go. Oh yes it is. So if you really love me, come on and let it show. Whoa. You know I love you, I always will. My mind's made up by the way that I feel. There's no beginning, there'll be no end. 'Cause all my love, you can I see your face before me as I lay on my bed. To thinking of all the things you said. Oh yes I did. You gave your promise to me, and I give mine to you. I need someone beside me in everything I do. Cause all my love, you can be
And that was Wet Wet Wet's version of Love Is All Around from 1994 for the film Four Weddings and a Funeral. I just had to sort of check that out because I was going to say Bridget Jones, but it was Four Weddings and a Funeral. And just reading about it, they actually got to pick from 3 songs. They were either going to do I Will Survive, Gloria Gaynor, or Can't Smile Without You by Barry Manilow. But in the end, they picked this one by the Trogs. It got to, as we know, number 1 on the UK singles charts on the 29th of May, and then it remained there for 15 weeks. It's the joint 3rd longest chart reign of all time, beaten only by Frankie Lane's I Believe, which clocked up 18 weeks at the top during the 1950s. Then Bryan Adams' song for Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Everything I Do for You, which was number 1 for 16 consecutive weeks in 1991. And then Drake, One Dance, which stayed at the top for 15 weeks in 2016. It does say that Love Is All Around spent a further 20 weeks on the UK singles top 75. I remember it well. So this next one is one from Madure. I do like playing Madure ones, don't I? I played a couple over the past few weeks. Now this is an unusual one by Madure. The song originally recorded by Lulu for the film To Sir With Love from 1967. Now she recorded it with the band The Mindbenders as they were the band in the film. It's one of my all-time favourite films of the 1960s. I never get tired of it. It's a great film. I think it's because it's sort of set in East London, and that's where I'm sort of from originally, even though I lost my accent sort of years ago. But yeah, I just think it's a great film, and I love sort of like Lulu's version of this. But this is Madure doing his version of To Sir With Love from 2008. Well, that one did catch me out just then. That was Majia's version of To Sir With Love from his 2008 album 10. I didn't release it as a single, but the Lulu version that was released in 1967 wasn't released as a single in the UK. It was released as a B-side to the single that she had, Let's Pretend, which got to number 11 on the UK singles charts in 1967. But in the US, the single ranked at number 1 on the Billboard's year-end song and got to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. Though the Monkees' I'm a Believer, which debuted in 1966, spent most of its charts in 1960. Well, it's got nothing to do with it, really. Yeah, so she had more sort of success with it over in the States. But yeah, great song, great film. I'll have to play the Lulu version again. I have played it on sort of the previous show. I think when I done sort of 60s Divas. If you've not listened to it, check that one out. And that's what I was just going to say. If you're on the Facebook page, or if you're not on the Facebook page, get yourself on Facebook. Look for Radio Care, hosted by Mike Howard. I'll add you to the page, or Paul McRoberts will add you to the page. Any of the admin will add you. And then, yeah, you'll keep up to date with the shows that are happening on there. And just tell your friends about it. Send a request for them as well, you know, to join. If you think people enjoy the show, if they like this sort of kind of, it is very much sort of easy listening, very sort of like chill, relaxed sort of stuff. There's all sorts of theme stuff. Sometimes, I haven't done it for a while, but sometimes I do it sort of like going from the 1970s up to present day. I will do some shows like that, but I'm quite enjoying doing the theme stuff at the moment, and I'm getting some really good suggestions. Mate Paul at Bar 72 often comes up with great suggestions, and also Richard, who's just started listening. Richard was the one that actually sent a suggestion for the covers one, and I thought, why not, we'll give it a go, and it seems to be working out tonight. There is some obscure songs in there, but that just adds to the quirkiness of the show. So this next one is a very famous one. It was very famous because it was done by Whitney Houston, but I actually like the original version rather than the Whitney Houston version. I won't take nothing away from Whitney Houston because she did do a very good version of a song, and it was a hit. Spent 14 weeks at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, but the original version is always going to be my favourite one. This is Dolly Parton and I Will Love You Always.
If I should stay, I would only be in your way, so I'll go. But I know I'll think of you each step of the way. Bittersweet memories, that's all I am taking with me. Goodbye, please don't cry. We both know that I'm not what you need. I hope life treats you kind, and I hope that you have all that you ever dreamed of.
and I wish you joy and happiness. But above all of this, I wish you love.
Now, to me, that is the best version of that song. That was Dolly Parton's version of I Will Love You Always, or Always Love You, from originally recorded in 1973, released in 1974, and it was a commercial success twice for Dolly Parton. It got the top spot on the Billboard Hot Country Songs chart, first in 1974 and then again in 1982. Now, the 1982 reissue was for the film The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, as part of the soundtrack. Now, then it was released by Whitney Houston in 1992 for the film The Bodyguard. Spent 14 weeks at number one spot on the Billboard Hot 100 charts, setting a new record at that time, becoming the best-selling single of all time and the best-selling single by a woman. Been covered by many artists, Linda Ronstadt, John Doe, Amber Riley, Leanne Rimes and Sarah Washington done a dance version of it, which reached number 12 on the UK singles charts. Great song. So I can see that we've still got people sort of listening at the moment. I think we're up to nearly 10,000. So like I say, not sort of huge numbers tonight, but I'm happy with that. You know, if I had 100 people sort of listening, I'd be happy. Just as long as you're enjoying the music, that's the main thing. So this next one is one from Katie Melua. It's a song which was originally done by The Cure. I used to love The Cure, went to see them in concert, used to dress like Robert Smith sort of when I went for a bit of a goth phase in my late teens. But this is her version of Just Like Heaven, and it's just such a mellow version of the song.
inside of me. You, soft and lonely, you, lost and lonely, you, just like heaven. You, soft and lonely, you, lost and lonely, you, just like
And that was Katie Melliver's version of Just Like Heaven from 2006. Originally recorded by The Cure in 1987, appeared on their album Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. Frontman Robert Smith said he drew the inspiration from a past trip to the seashore with his future wife. So it was about his memories of that trip. And that's where he sort of got the idea from for the song. I think he wrote it when he was doing the Orange tour. I remember watching the Orange video. That's Orange in France. And that was the year. That was actual the tour that I went to. Was the Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me tour in 1987. But the Katie Melliver version was appeared on her 2005 album Piece by Piece. It didn't actually get released as a single from what I can remember. I'm just looking. In the UK, the cover was released as a double A. So it was double A with I Cried For You. And in the US, it became a minor adult contemporary radio hit in 2006. We're getting through the list. We've still got a few songs left to play. Probably not going to go too much over the 2 hours tonight, just a little bit over. So this next one is one by Neil Finn and Friends, and this is from 2001. Now, I've been to see Neil Finn several times, and I've seen sort of a Neil Finn with Friends tour. I've seen the sort of smaller version, and also the one sort of the video that he sort of brought out for the Neil Finn and Friends, which was recorded, I think, in Auckland. So it features guitarist Johnny Marr on this particular track, and when I went to see him at Ipswich, Johnny Marr was touring with him on that particular one. Johnny Marr was very famous for being in the band The Smiths, and sort of done stuff sort of with Morrissey. He's also an artist in his own right, and I was watching something on Sky News earlier to say that during the lockdown, why most people, what was it they said? Why most people were sort of baking sourdough dough. Johnny Marr was creating a double album, an 18-track album, which he's going to be releasing. So this is probably one of my favourite sort of Smith songs. It always makes me think of that Gavin and Stacey episode where they're in the garden, and I'm trying to think of the old girl that lived next door, but she's playing this song on a guitar, and then they all start doing Morrissey impressions. The song is There Is a Light That Never Goes Out, and this is Neil Finn's version.
Take me out tonight, where there's music and there's people and they're young and alive. Driving your car, I never want to go home, because I haven't got one anymore. Take me out tonight, because I want to see people and I want to see life. Driving your car, oh please don't drop me home, because it's not my home, it's their home, and I'm welcome no more. And if a double-decker bus kills the both of us, to die by your side is such such a heavenly way to die. And if a 10-ton truck crashes into us, to die by your side, well, the pleasure, the privilege is mine. Take me out tonight. Take me anywhere, don't care, don't care. And in the darkened underpass, I thought, my God, my chance has come at last. Then a strange fear gripped me and I just couldn't ask. Take me out tonight. Well, take me anywhere, don't care, don't care. Just driving in your car. I never, never want to go home, because I haven't got one. I haven't got one. And if a double-decker bus crashes into us, to die by your side is such a heavenly way to die. And if a 10-ton truck kills the both of us, to die by your side, well, the pleasure, the privilege is mine. There is a light and it never goes out. There is a light and it never goes out. There is a light and it never goes out. Oh, there is a light and it never goes out. Goes out.
Dear friend, Johnny Marr.
I think that's a great version of that song. That was Neil Finn and Friends doing There Is a Light That Never Goes Out, originally done by the Smiths for their album The Queen Is Dead, never released as a single at that time until 5 years after their split. So in 1992 there was a compilation album, The Best of Two, and then they released it as a single, where it peaked at number 25 on the UK singles charts, number 22 in Ireland, and the song has received considerable critical acclaim. In 2014 NME listed it as the 12th greatest song of all time. So there you have it, my famous saying. So this next one is one which has been done by many artists. Elvis done a very good version of it. I think Willie Nelson actually done a version of it as well. Brenda Lee, from what I can remember. But this song is the version that was done in 1987 by the Pet Shop Boys. I shall tell you a bit in a minute, but this is Always on My Mind. And that was the Pet Shop Boys version of Always on My Mind from 1987. It was originally, I'm seeing where it was originally recorded. Let's have a look. First recorded by Brenda Lee, then Gwen McGree, Elvis Presley, and released in 1972 by McCree. The song has been a crossover hit, charting in both the country and western and pop categories. In 1987, Pet Shop Boys performed the version, Always on My Mind, on Love Me Tender, a television special on ITV, which is a British network TV channel, just in case you're listening from abroad at the moment. And it was to commemorate the 10th anniversary of Elvis Presley's death. The programme featured various pop acts at the time performing cover versions of his songs, and the Pet Shop Boys did this version, and then it was released as a single. This version became the UK's Christmas #1 single of that year, edging out Fairy Tale of New York by the Pogues. Spent 4 weeks at the top of the charts, also reached number 4 on the US Billboard Hot 100. And I'll breathe. So this next one was made very famous by Sinead O'Connor, so you know which song I'm going to play next, but was originally recorded, written and recorded in 1985. It was written by Prince, and he recorded with a project that he had called The Family, which was a band that he was sort of like with at the time, and it was released as on a debut album, and it's his version or their version of Nothing Compares to You.
It's been 7 hours and 13 days since you took your love away. I go out every night and sleep all day since you took your love away. Since you've been gone, I can do whatever I want. I can see whomever
That's growing on me, that version. I've listened to it a couple of times now and I really like it. I mean, you can't get away from the Sinead O'Connor version because that's quite a haunting, very powerful sort of version. But I do like the Prince version. I think that's kind of sort of growing on me, like I say. So this next one is one from George Harrison. It's probably one of his last hits that he had in 1987. I didn't realise it was from a song that was originally written and recorded in 1962. The song is Got My Mind Set on You, and I'll tell you a bit about it soon.
I got my mind set on you. I got my mind set on you. I got my mind set on you. Got my mind set on you. But it's gonna take money, a whole lot of spending money. It's gonna take plenty of money to do it right, child. It's gonna take time, whole lot of precious time. It's gonna take patience and time to do it, 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 to do it right, child. I got my mind set on you. 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 And this time I know it's real, the feeling that I feel. I know if I put my mind to it, I know that I really can do it. I got my mind set on you, set on you. I got my mind set on you, set on you. But it's gonna take money, whole lot of spending money. It's gonna take plenty of money to do it right, child. It's gonna take time, whole lot of precious time. It's gonna take patience and time to do it, 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 to do it right. I got my mind set on you. 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 And this time I know it's real, the feelings that I feel. I know if I put my mind to it, I know that I really can do it. But it's gonna take money, a whole lot of spending money. It's gonna take plenty of money to do it right, child. It's gonna take a time, a whole lot of precious time. It's gonna take patience and time to do it, 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 to do it right. Set on you, set on you. Set on you, 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 set on you. It's on my mind on you.
And that was George Harrison from 1987, Got My Mind Set on You. Now, the song was originally composed by Rudy Clark and originally recorded by James Ray in 1962 under the title of I've Got My Mind Set on You, as it is, an edited version of a song released later in the year as a single on the Dynamic Sound label, credited to Ray James with Hutch Davey Orchestra and Chorus. Now in 1987, George Harrison released the cover of this song as a single and released it on his album Cloud 9, which he had recorded on his own label, which was Dark Horse Records. When the song hit number one, it broke a three-way tie between Harrison, Lennon and Ringo Starr, all of whom had two number one hit singles as solo artists, discounting Paul McCartney's work with Wings. It also happened to be a number one single in the US the week immediately preceding the induction of the Beatles into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and making Harrison one of a few inductees to have an active single on the US record charts at the time. Whew, I'll breathe. In the UK, the single spent 4 weeks at number 2. It was kept off the top spot, number 1 spot by T'Pol's China in Your Hand, becoming the 5th best selling single of 1987. So we're getting there. We've only got about 4 more songs left to play, and then we've sadly reached the end of the show. So this next one is one from Elvis Costello. It's his rendition of a Charles Aznavour song, which came out in 1974. This one is one that Elvis Costello recorded in 1999 for the film Notting Hill. So we've done 4 Weddings and a Funeral, now we're on to Notting Hill. This one is She.
She may be the face I can't forget, a trace of pleasure or regret, maybe my treasure or the price I have to pay. She may be the song the summer sings, maybe the chill the autumn brings, maybe 100 different things within the measure of a day. She may be the beauty or the beast, maybe the famine or the feast, may turn each day into a heaven or a hell. She may be the mirror of my dreams, a smile reflected in a stream. She may not be what she may seem inside her shell. Seems so happy in a crowd whose eyes can be so private and so proud. No one's allowed to see them when they cry. She may be the love that cannot hope to last, may come to me from shadows of the past that I remember till the day I die. She may be the reason I survive, the why and wherefore I'm alive, the one I'll care for through the rough and ready years. Me, I'll take her laughter and her tears and make them all my souvenirs. For where she goes, I've got to be. The meaning of my life is she.
I just love the way Elvis Costello, he can adapt to sort of many different styles. I've heard him sort of doing Irish songs. I've heard him doing all sorts, really. And you sort of think when he was sort of like came out, it was sort of, again, that new wave coming out the sort of punk era, and then sort of very much onto the new wave sound of the late 70s. I really did like his stuff from then. But that was his version of She from 1999. For the soundtrack for the film Notting Hill. This version of the song peaked at number 19 on the UK singles charts, giving Costello his first top 10 or top 20 hit in the United Kingdom in 16 years. So I mention it every week, and if I get a chance, if I can play a Kate Bush song, I will do. But I'm not playing Kate Bush. I'm going to play the cover version of Kate Bush, and it's not the ones that I normally play. This one is one by a band called Future Heads, and it's their version of Hounds of Love from 2005.
When I was a child, running in the night, I was afraid of what might be. Hiding in the dark and hiding on the streets, for the man of what was following me. Oh, 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 oh. The hounds of the love were calling. Oh, 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 oh. I've always been a coward. Oh, 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 oh. And I don't know what's good for me. Well, here I go. It's coming at me through the tree. Help me, someone, help me, please. Take your shoes off, and I will throw them in the lake. And I will be 2 steps on the water. I found a box covered by dogs. He let me take it in my hand. His little heart beats so fast that I am ashamed to be running away from nothing real. I just can't deal with this. I feel ashamed to be there. Oh, 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 oh. Amongst your hounds of loving. Oh, 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 oh. I feel your arms surrounding me. Oh, 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 oh. I've always been a coward. Oh, oh. But here I go. Don't let me go. Hold me down. It's coming at me through the tree. Help me, someone, help me, please. Take my shoes off, and I will throw them in the lake. And I will be 2 steps on the water. Take my shoes off, and I will throw them in the lake. And I will be 2 steps on the water. Water, water, water. I don't know what's good for me. I don't know what's good for me. Do you know what I need? Do you know what I need? I need a yeah.
And that was the Future Heads version of Hounds of Love from 2005. Now, the version originally was done by Kate Bush in 1985 for the album Hounds of Love. The single was released in 1986 and reached number 18 on the UK singles charts. But this version by the Future Heads on their self-titled album was released in 2005. The single peaked at number 8 on the UK singles charts in the first week and was named Best Single of 2005. So there you have it. So we've got 2 more songs left to play, and I've already put the playlist up on the Facebook page. I've got that sort of typed in already, so you're going to get a sneaky peek at the next 2 songs. So the next song that I'm playing is one from Nirvana. It's a song that was originally written and recorded by David Bowie back in 1970. Also recorded by Lulu. She done a really good version of it. But this is the Nirvana version, which they actually did. It appeared on the MTV Unplugged album, which came out in 1993, I think. Well, it was recorded from the live session in 1993, and this one is The Man Who Sold the World.
Spoke into his eyes, I thought you died alone a long, long time ago. Oh no, not me. We never lost control. The face to face of the man who sold the world. For foreign land. For years and years I roamed. I gazed and stared. We must have a million years. I must have died alone a long, long time ago. Who knows? Not me. Lost control. Your face to face with the man who sold the world. Who knows? Not me. We never lost control. Your face to face. Sold the world. David Bowie song.
And that was the Nirvana version of the Man Who Sold the World. Man Who Sold the World from 1993. Actually recorded in the November of 1993 for the MTV Unplugged in New York. And sadly, he died in 1994, but it was released as a promotional single in 1995. So sadly, we've reached the end of the show. It's been a bit of a quirky show. I know there's been a few sort of tracks on there which are a bit obscure, and you probably thought, I've never heard that before, or wouldn't really class that as a cover. But you know me, I like to sort of like throw in a few tracks that are a bit strange, and yeah, that's just how I work, isn't it? So I'm going to finish tonight. This is one originally written and sort of done by The Doors back in 1967. Well, recorded 66, released in 67. And was a hit for The Doors, but also it became a huge hit for Jose Feliciano, and I think I've played his version. But then in 2002, as part of the first Pop Idol, Will Young won Pop Idol, and he released this. He released Evergreen, but he also released this as a single. And this is his version, and it was one of the songs that he did on the show that I thought was fantastic at the time. And this is Will Young's version of Light My Fire. So all that's left for me to say is have a good night, have a safe week, and hopefully you can tune in next week. I'm not sure whether it'll be on a Saturday or a Sunday, but if you keep an eye on the Facebook page, that'll keep you up to date on there. But stay safe, everyone, and yeah, good night.
You know that it would be untrue. You know that I would be a liar if I was to say to you, girl, we couldn't get much higher. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Try to set the night on fire. Oh, the time to hesitate is through. There's no time to wallow in the mire. If I was to say to you that our love becomes a funeral pyre, come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Try to set the night on fire. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh. You gotta light it, girl. You gotta light it, yeah. Light my fire, light my fire, light my fire. Oh, light it, light it, light it, light it, light it, light it, girl, girl, girl. Oh, you gotta do it, girl, do it, girl. Girl, you gotta do it, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
If you love great music and some gentle banter, you're in the right place. Listen to Radio Care, broadcasting from Coventry.